What's up, guys? How's it going? This is Ken, the Positive African. I'm here with my cousin today.
Hello, my name is Ngotho.
And we're going to be discussing something we were talking about, and we thought it would be interesting to see what you guys thought about too. It was the difference between self-love and spoiling yourself. That's what we were thinking about, conversating about. And we wanted to bring the conversation live to you guys. Well, not necessarily live because we're going to post it on YouTube, but when you receive it, it'll be live. But yeah, so one of the things I wanted to actually get the understanding the difference between self-love and self-care. And you pretty much were telling me...
I prefer the term self-love because self-love is encompassing.
Mm-hmm.
It includes self-care and all that. So I prefer, the word love has more meaning.
Okay. And so pretty much it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
So I won't, I won't make too much of the differences. It's just that I have a preference for self-love.
Okay. And I agree with that.
Self-love is encompassing in the sense, it includes many things.
Okay.
Yeah, it includes many because self-love is more than just love for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you truly love yourself, you also love other people and care about other people.
Okay.
So that's why I prefer the word love as opposed to just self-care.
Okay. But here's, because a lot of things I fall into, like I'm in the fitness industry,
Mm-hmm.
so like something like, it makes sense to some people when they explain it as self-care when I'm going to the gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why maybe some people use the word care too.
I get it.
Yeah, but I do agree it's the same thing all in general.
Yeah.
But the main reason we want to talk about this is the difference between self-love and spoiling yourself. And we both just read an article about, it was actually titled, I love the title, let me read it out to you guys, it was very interesting. Do you remember the title?
No.
Okay, I'll find it right now. And it was written by Brianna West, which was an amazing article. I thought it was amazing. And then we both read the comments and were like, holy smokes, people think differently. So it was something along the lines as self-care is not, I'm not able to find it. It was something along the lines of self-care is not just salt baths and chocolate. And I really love that title because when I usually ask somebody about self-love or self-care, it's usually like, oh, I get my nails done, or I buy myself stuff, or that's usually what people define self-love with.
Treating yourself.
Treating yourself.
Treating yourself in whichever way you define treating yourself is. Mm-hmm. And the article was a little bit hard-hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it stretches that meaning to, self-love is
only
if you have a toothache,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
take care of the toothache.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the money, go to the dentist. It's not gonna be fun. It's not uncomfortable,
mm-hmm.
but it's something necessary
mm-hmm.
that you have to do that is not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That is a form of self-care,
mm-hmm.
because you cannot be happy or fulfilled
mm-hmm.
if you don't take care of that.
Okay.
And you can use the same analogy for finances, for your health, for your relationships.
Okay.
There are certain things that as human beings we have to do that are not comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's a form of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
We won't generally like it. Doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But it still has to be done.
And that to me is a real, we have a different thinking on this, because I really liked the article, and you were like you said it's very hard-hitting, and I enjoyed it because it was hard-hitting and it gets down to it, like, hey, if you're broke, you shouldn't be getting your nails done for $80. It actually speaks about that in the article. Mm-hmm. I'll comment it in the bottom. And but you're looking at a different perspective, as if that's not the only form of self-love that is out there in the world, right?
I got what she was trying to say,
mm-hmm.
but then how do I say it? It hits people differently compared based on where people are on their lives. So, someone who is really struggling with something, something painful, something that is a little bit out of their control, or something they think they can control but they just can't, and whatever, then the last thing they want to hear is another jab at themselves. Because we tend to be hard on ourselves. Everybody is.
Yeah.
Whether they admit it or not.
I know, I'm guilty.
You're your hardest critic. You know, you're more likely to forgive other people than you are to forgive yourself for whatever thing that it is that you hold against you. And everybody is holding something against themselves. You know, it's part of our culture. I don't know whether it's genetic or not, but it's just part of who we are as human beings. We are hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
So somebody else reminding you to be harder, even a little bit harder on yourself, doesn't really help. Sometimes people need to be encouraged when they're going through something difficult, and sometimes people need to be pushed when they're being complacent.
Okay.
So that's why I said when I read people's comments, I can tell where everybody is.
You emphasize.
Yeah, I can see where everybody is in there, whatever.
And you know,
journey.
I could see too in the comments, but going back to, I want to really define the difference between self-love and just spoiling yourself, which I don't think there's anything wrong with spoiling yourself, but I think there are people who are spoiling themselves thinking they're committing an act of self-love, but they're really damaging and they're going to regret it the next morning.
Yeah.
So that, and you know, examples is like, you know, when, like, let's say a client of mine who has just lost 5 pounds, and to celebrate she goes out with her friends, or he goes out with his friends, and they get drunk all weekend, and they added the 5 pounds in just 2 days. So to me, that is self-sabotaging, pretty much. Yes. It's actually I believe it's a form of self-sabotaging. So, so going back to self-love and self-love and spoiling yourself, how do you tell if you're actually, like, what do you think? How do you tell that I'm acting within self-love, or I'm acting in self-sabotage? Let's not even call it the difference between self-love and spoiling yourself. Let's call it the difference between self-love and self-sabotaging. Because I know I'm also guilty of very much self-sabotaging. I'll give you an example. I love personal development, but I became an addict to personal development, to where I was doing so much of it and it was putting me in a hole, money-wise. So, I mean, yes, was I learning great things? Yes, could I imply them? No, because I just spent a bunch of money out of my account to go to this event. I didn't even imply what I just learned from the last one. You know? So that's what you mean. Yes, it seems like a good thing on the top, but at the bottom, it really is hurting me, and it's keeping me in this tumble where it's making me believe I need more personal development, and I need to grow this or I need to go that way, instead of just implementing the first thing that I actually learned. So, what are your thoughts on that? Self-love and self-sabotage. How do you know the difference?
I prefer to self-love as opposed to spoiling myself or treating myself. Again, I go back to the word love. Because when I use love, then I can choose better.
Okay.
So for example, spoiling myself, I go have a couple of drinks. Loving myself or treating myself with self-love, then I cannot go with that. I cannot tell myself, let me go have a couple of drinks, as a form of treating myself, because I in my mind I know that's not right. Okay. I'm gonna kill 1 million brain cells, 1 million heart cells, or whatever. I'm gonna have a hangover the next day, and a whole lot of other bad things happen.
Yeah.
So that cannot be self-love. So I stay away from the idea of spoiling myself, I stick with self-love.
So that, in your mind, that triggers something to where, like, you think of it differently.
Exactly. Well, words matter. In this case, words matter. If I say self-love, then I'm more likely to choose something that is gonna do me good
Okay.
in the short term and the long term.
Okay. So what would you choose instead of a couple of drinks?
Healthy juice.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a health fanatic, so
I mean,
I'll go buy some
kombucha
$5 whatever.
Kombucha has a little hint of alcohol in it, right?
1%.
Yeah, 1% of alcohol in kombucha, so that gives you the buzz.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'll do something like that.
Being both people.
I would find something better to do.
Okay. Now being
I can
both,
take myself to the movies.
there you go.
Okay.
Now being people who both actually do drink, and we're in a health industry. I'm in the health industry, and you're obsessed with health. So is spoiling yourself also part of it now?
Part of what?
Is that added on to it?
When I do it, I have no illusions that I'm doing anything good. So, there's a difference.
Okay.
That's the reason why I seldom ever drink.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're
When
doing
I
it,
do
you
it's always in social settings and whatever.
moderation.
One or two drinks.
Okay.
Yeah. I have no illusions what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm very clear. Okay.
You're very clear that you're burning brain cells, and you.
I'm gonna enjoy it now, but it's not the best thing.
It's gonna benefit me. So would self-love maybe clear your calendar out for the next day?
Say that again.
Now would self-love would come say, okay, you have no illusion that this is not necessarily benefiting you in the future or in the now. Well, it might be benefiting you in the now, but not necessarily in the future or in the long run. But in the present, it's fun. I mean, you let loose a little bit and you forget about your problems, right?
Yes, and it's not all bad. Like I said,
Yeah.
we usually do it in social settings.
Yeah.
So interacting with friends, exchanging laughs and whatever, that has value in and out of itself.
Exactly.
That has value. It's gonna help you decompress. You know, it will make you feel better. Helps you make connections with people and all that. So that is good.
And
now, if we can find a way to do it without alcohol,
now that would be self-love, and I have done it.
Even better. So,
and so in that perspective, I think maybe setting yourself up to win. Like I tell my clients, yes, you want to celebrate with your friends and going out. Okay, have a vodka water tonic or whatever. It tastes horrible, but I mean, if you really need to have that drink with your friends, have a shot instead of drinking a 300 calorie drink, and which is just gonna. Because when it comes to the weight loss, no matter what anyone says, it's a counting calorie game. I don't care. My opinion, very much my opinion.
It's actually a fact.
Yeah, but yeah, it is. It is. So it's a calorie in, calorie out. I don't care what anyone says. It's a fact, even a law. So so I tell them to set themselves up for that, because don't have the illusion that I like that you said that. I don't have the illusion that I'm performing some kind of self-love. But I'm well aware of what I'm doing. So if you're well aware of what you're doing, maybe setting yourself up to win after that. Maybe not scheduling something after the day of drinking, or maybe eating a certain amount of calories until that weekend, so your calories are able to go up and then come back down and go back to normal. Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm glad you say that. There's something else I would want to add to that. You made the difference between, okay, you took a shot versus a mixed drink that has 10 times the calories. So I like to make a difference between we all came up through religion, one way or another. We've been influenced by religion, whatever.
Yeah.
And we have this thing in our mind, a sin is a sin. So what we tend to do is you decide, okay, we are going out drinking, I'll have a drink. But screw it. Okay, I already had one, I already messed up. You end up taking 10.
Yeah, I have that problem.
Okay. Now, you can cancel that thought and think differently. tell yourself, okay, yeah, the difference between 1 drink and 2 drinks is huge. The difference between 2 drinks and 10 drinks is huge. Okay, so if I'm gonna go out and have a drink, I'll stick to 2. Okay, or 1, or whatever. You can find ways to make what I would call what, bad habits less bad, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, and be okay with it. You know, be okay with it as opposed to beating yourself up, because you tend to overdo or cause yourself even more problems, more anxiety, more worries, and whatever. And the opposite is true too. You're trying to do something good. Okay, you commit yourself. I'm gonna go to the gym 5 days a week. Okay, it only happened twice. It's still better than nothing.
Than 0, yeah.
Okay, and you, again, the way we tend to function is you think of you failed. I failed. As opposed, no, I succeeded
2 times.
2 times.
Okay. That's true.
So next week I'll try and make it a little bit better. And when you think that way, then you won't self-sabotage, like you said. Like you'll be able to continue.
Want more wins, definitely. If you count your wins instead of your losses.
Exactly. That's even better.
So you'll be tracking your wins more.
Yes.
And that goes back to what I really want to cover, that I believe instead of self-love being something outside of you, should really, it comes down to me that self-love and self-care is really in my head and how I communicate with myself. Yes. So to the aspects to before I even do anything, it's how really I'm communicating with myself. I'm communicating with myself. Like even if let's say I go out, we were just in Vegas and I had my share of drinks and I had a great time, and I usually go into self beat-ups after nights like that, but right after, I mean, I was like, hey, I had a good time. I counted the wins, I counted the people that I met, I counted all the great times that I went to. I was like, and there's a small part of me that just wants to hang on to those failures. Oh, this is against health, all this. And it craves it. My mind craves that conversation. It like wants to have that conversation. Oh, you did this, you did that. And I just shut it up for once. Yeah. For a second, it was able to shut up. And I was able to focus on the next day. And I was able to go back to work and just have an amazing week at work. I was able to bounce back. So to me, self-love really has to do with also how you communicate with yourself. That's part of it is so huge, because that your thoughts literally reach your actions.
Your self-talk. Your self-talk. Is it empowering? Is it disempowering?
It's true. Yeah.
And you can choose. You are the master of your thoughts. You can choose to challenge every thought that comes through your awareness.
Yeah.
And you can choose to direct it whichever way you want. Now, we've had a lifetime of practice of going negative. You know, going negative, and it has to do with a whole lot of things, how you were raised, the environment, and all that. But you absolutely have the right to challenge your thoughts, no matter what, and to always recalibrate, because nothing in life is really static. What you think is right today might not be right tomorrow. Yeah,
that's true.
So what? Just correct and move on. But it's not exactly how we are wired. We are wired to feel guilty, look back, what happened, what should I have, whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I was craving that conversation.
Yeah.
Like it was just like
it's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's not helpful. And it doesn't even make it easier to make positive decisions moving forward.
In the future.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, guys, there you have it. That's our first video together, me and Charles. I had fun doing it. Let us know what else you'd like for us to speak about. We have really good conversations. Remember, guys, these are our opinions. Don't take it to heart. It's just a little fun thing that me and my cousin want to do because we enjoy having this conversation, and we always wish other people would be around to watch us. So there's our first one, and looking forward to doing more. All right, bye, guys.
Peace.